Well, welcome to the journey. My name is Kevin Polky, and I am the host of The Journey. And The Journey is uh, a collection of interviews that I have done over the last almost 3.5 years now, focusing on stories of resilience, stories of transformation, stories that individuals who have come onto the show have shared their story about some type of setback or some type of obstacle, and then what they learned from that, going through that experience. Today, we are going to focus on a reflection. And last week, I had the opportunity to um, do a couple talks. I was in first in Iowa at Graceland University, where I was working with their staff as well as then their student athletes. And then I drove from there over to Illinois State University, which I had graduated a long, long time ago with my degree in psychology. And I spoke with their students as well. Both universities, I was talking about the impact of young adult suicide and what we can do about it. One of the things that came up as I was working with the staff and then talking with the students was this idea of resilience, and that resilience is something that occurs as we are knocked off our path, knocked down, have some type of obstacle, some type of thing that we're stumbling around. And we don't just try to get over it. In other words, just try to get have the feeling, the uncomfortable feeling of the setback or the loss go away. Um, I know for me, there's been many times when I've had something that has happened that has primarily emotionally made me uncomfortable, that I just wanted that feeling to go away. And I think that is similar to just wanting to get over it. Again, metaphorically imagining if there was some barrier in your way, and that this is in your way from where you're going or how you want things to be or how you want to feel. And so let's just surpass this and go over it. Where when we look at the development of resilience is about going through some obstacle that is in front of you, going through the experience of some type of setback or some type of loss. And what is it about that loss? It's already happened. Now we're going through the aftermath of the healing or the recovery of it. What is it that I can then learn that I wouldn't have learned if this loss wasn't happening? Um, so uh, I think very similar to physical development. Physical development only can happen if there is some level of resistance, some level of I increase the resistance, I increase the amount of times that I'm moving the weight or moving the sled or whatever it may be, that it breaks muscle tissue down so that there's an opportunity for then healing and repair to allow that muscle fiber to thicken and then become stronger. Emotional development, similar to mental development, as we know, that when we're challenged with something that we don't know the answer to, but then we go through the process of learning whatever that new material is, then there's mental growth or intellectual growth. Emotional, social growth, emotional growth, spiritual growth happens in the same manner. There has to be some level of chaos, some level of frustration, some level of emotional anguish or pain that we have to go through. That as we go through that, and learn things that we wouldn't have learned about ourselves if we wouldn't have gone through it. That's where that healing and repair comes. And then there's that, again, this idea of thickening like a muscle tissue, that there we become stronger because of it. I think in some ways, like when we think of certain types of in nature, think of some kind of trees. How do we become emotionally more resilient or spiritually more resilient? I don't know if it's attempting to be that oak tree, which is a very hard wood, very strong wood, um, is maybe the best for high winds in a storm. That maybe uh, a better tree to use as an example, metaphorically, is the willow tree, which will bend with and flex with the winds and will have less likely to break in those winds. So, this idea of emotional and spiritual growth and development, very similar to mental and physical, that there has to be some level of resistance, some level of an obstacle, and then we have to go through the uncomfortableness of it, go through the pain of that uncomfortableness to discover what is it about ourselves that is now awakening, um, and that's where that growth is. And sometimes that growth is being more pliable and flexible. um, Maybe it's allowing ourselves to um, uh, loosen certain mental or cognitive constraints that we have. It's being able to look at it from a different perspective. We think of this idea of being able to, that when we are in some type of predicament where we have a setback or someone may have disappointed or hurt us, that instead of attempting to avenge that pain, that we attempt to look at it from a broader perspective, maybe a level of even empathy, so that we can then maybe go through the process of forgiveness, and that forgiveness is really not about letting them go, meaning letting them off the hook, but it's more about releasing us from the bondage of that of that thing that caused us to have resentment or anger or hurt. Again, when we go through this forgiveness process, similar to that emotional growth and development, is that it doesn't mean that we don't have strong boundaries with someone, but it very well may be that they don't, as they say, consume space in our thinking. Again, this idea of resilience, as I said at the very beginning, is about going through situations, metaphorically going through them, experiencing them, recognizing what is it that I can learn to grow from. Setting boundaries may be an aspect of it, because not being able to trust that that person is safe, physically or mentally, emotionally, but recognizing that we don't have to be caught in the bondage of that resentment or that anger or that hurt, and recognizing that even though it may not be how we want it to be, that uh, it is okay, that, as we all have learned over time, that the only thing that we can eventually control is ourself, is our own thinking, is our own actions. So again, this idea of when an obstacle happens, when a setback happens, instead of just being able to try to get over it and feel different about it, that we can use it as an opportunity. What is it do I have to learn? And how can I use this as a teacher, even if it is something less than pleasant? As always, I appreciate you listening, and appreciate you either commenting or sharing with others as we go through this life together. We all have our own journey to travel, and maybe we have the opportunity to find guides or companions along the way. Look forward to being with you again next week, and be well.